Hello, everyone, and welcome to an exciting edition of the Media Boat Podcast, where we have a special end of the year episode just for you. My name is Mike. His name is Matt.
My name is Matt. His name is Mike. Thank you for joining us on this special year-end wrap-up edition of the Media Boat Podcast. If you're new to the Media Boat Podcast and you don't know what we do here at the end of the year, well, it's in the name. We wrap up the year in a nice little tidy little package for you. Put it under the tree for you to open on Christmas Day, or actually whenever you would listen to this. So, just like the show, we divide it into four. The four sections that we do on the show, which is music, video games, television, and movies, actually in that order. We will be presenting these in that order as well in this series. Starting with music, what we do is we first recap the year that was, talk about the important news stories. Then we choose one news story to be the most important in that category over the course of the year. Then we talk about our individual top five in the music section. Those are top five albums for us. Once we talk about our top five albums, then we go into deciding the number one album that we can agree on to be the Media Boat Podcast album of the year. This is going to be a challenge this year because I don't think there's much crossover at all. I'm going to toss that out there. But yeah, so let's get rolling right into it. Why don't we start in the month that seems so far, far, far away from us right now, which was January of 2025.
Yes, back in January, we had the fire. Everything was on fire as
Yeah,
the California
yeah.
Palisades fire happened, and then the Fire Aid concert occurred. Because of that, we had some Grammy well, not really some Grammy reshuffling
Mm,
as they revised their schedule in the wake of the devastating fires. As nearly all Grammy Week events had been canceled or postponed because of the tragedy. N- No, not by the Grammys themselves, but rather by the major music companies.
yes. Yeah, it affected a
We
lot of people in the industry because of the location that they were in. Yeah, it was real brutal.
Yep. And speaking of those Grammys, we did crown a new record of the year. It was Not Like Us. Sorry, I gotta go like this. Not Like Us
Yeah, there you
by
go.
Kendrick Lamar. Album of the year went to Cowboy Carter by Beyonce, her first album of the year win. Song of the year went to Not Like Us, again, by Kendrick Lamar, who had a record night. I think he won 6 awards in total that night.
Sounds about right.
Is there six or seven?
Yeah.
And then you had your best new artist in Chapel Roan.
Yes. Well deserved.
Yep. Uh, in the business side of the music, we had Universal Music Group and Spotify announcing a new multi-year agreement for recorded music and music publishing to, quote, focus on growth and innovation advancement to artists. Um, it's basically a direct licensing deal straight to Spotify, which, has had its ups and downs and downs and downs and downs.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yep. We've also had the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees,
Yep,
which we will get to at the bottom.
it's
So
true.
that's not right here right
Right.
now. We had the Grand Ole Opry celebrate its 100th anniversary. Congratulations to country music and your fans. There's also a Universal Music Group, speaking of Universal, lawsuit with Limp Bizkit that alleged that the label deliberately withheld as much as $200 million in royalties. Um, and then, Napster, the original OG Napster, was sold and is now owned by Infinite Reality, an immersive technology company, for the low, low cost of $207 million.
Yeah, and of course, this is like the third time that Napster has traded hands and become a different thing. So yeah, it just keeps happening to those guys.
Yep. And now we know why Limp Bizkit was wanting that $200 million. Dollars.
Yeah.
Okay. Then in April, we had our media boat villain, uh, music villain,
Yeah.
rear his ugly head in Morgan Wallen,
Morgan Wallen.
deliberately walking off stage at SNL,
Yeah.
only to post himself going on a private jet saying, "Get me to God's country," which,
Hmm.
as I mentioned, did not write the song, did not
No.
record the song, and then immediately sold merch saying, "Get me to
Yeah.
God's country."
Yeah, it's become kind of a meme at this point, which is fun. So at least we have a little bit of fun with it now.
Yes, people making fun of Morgan Wallen is always accepted here at the Media Boat
Always good in our
Podcast.
book. Yeah.
Yep. Always accepted here. Lord, as she was back with a new single and album.
Yeah.
Spoilers? Maybe not spoilers. I don't think it's going to appear on any of our top 10 lists or top five
No,
lists.
I was very ambivalent about it. I think that it's an interesting record, and I'm glad that she's making music that she feels like she's passionate about again. But it just wasn't for me. I didn't get it. I just wasn't a fan of the vibe of that record.
That's all right. Perhaps you out there were a vibe of concerts, as Future Ruins was announced by Nine Inch Nails
And
uh,
later canceled.
and later canceled. Yes. I don't think we actually
Yeah.
talked about it being canceled
No, we
on the
didn't.
podcast.
But yeah, when they pitched it, it was like, oh my God, this is like Mike's dream concert. Because it's basically like, let's take all of these like film composers and have them do their scores on stage. Sound like a good idea. I guess because of like, I don't know, maybe it was scheduling issues, maybe funding issues, I don't know, but it ended up not happening.
I would say it was a logistic issue because you had to
Hmm.
park offsite, not optional. You had to park
Oh.
offsite and be shuttled in to the venue because it was on a one-lane road into a polo field in Buck Nowhere, California.
Yeah, nobody
Not
wanted to do
not
that.
polo grounds like
Yeah,
Coachella and
yeah.
Stagecoach.
Not the polo grounds, a polo ground.
Yes, not the polo grounds.
Exactly.
Yes. Ah, here we go. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame officially unveiled its 2025 class and included Bad Company, the band, not the video game,
No, not
Chubby
Battlefield
Checker,
Bad Company.
Joe Cocker, Cyndi Lauper, Outkast, Soundgarden, and the White Stripes. Both Salt and Pepper and Warren Zevon were also nominated and honored with the Musical Influence Award. And then we had some Musical Excellence Awards by Tom Bell, Nicky Hopkins, Carol Kay, and Lenny Waronker as an executive. And they were all officially into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as of October.
Yep, yep.
Congratulations, good company. Also, I believe it's also the first time Chubby Checkers was officially on the nominee list because he was left off for some weird reason or another.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Then we have a duo of powerhouse ladies making news. First up, Kesha making a Smash debut with Smash, the new community platform where creators connect, collaborate, and hire each other and retain their rights to whatever they create.
Yeah, it's an interesting pitch. We haven't seen the end result of it quite yet. But like, as things go, like the music industry needs more collaboration between people and more transparency with contracts. And if this does what it's supposed to do, this is a way to do that. And so I commend Kesha for doing that. We'll see how it goes.
And I mean, the most important part there is they retain their rights because you don't want to be a music artist and make music for 10, 12 years, have make like 6 albums out of it, multi-selling albums, and then like not be able to buy them back.
I
And
mean,
they get
yeah.
sold and passed around like out of your nose.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's very much based on experiences that she's had. And also, I'm sure, yes, I believe watching probably Taylor's experience probably did color a lot of that, a lot of the rules that she's made here.
Well, it's funny you bring up Taylor Swift because that is our
Mhm.
next story because she
Yeah.
actually was able to regain control of her entire body of work
Yes.
this year.
Yeah, the masters are now hers. You can now listen to any Taylor recording and be okay with yourself. No more hoarding the Taylor's versions as the only one to play. And yeah, and then part of this announcement was also saying that she's not going to re-record, likely not going to re-record either her debut album or Reputation. That was more or less confirmed. So yeah, we'll just never know what Taylor's versions of those records would sound like. But in the meantime, enjoy the whole discography because you got it now.
Yep. Um, we'll talk a bit more about Taylor Swift a bit
Yeah.
later.
Yep.
Let's see here. We also had new rules for the upcoming Grammy Awards, where they announced among them a new award for Best Album Cover. You know, including like packaging, liner notes, and stuff like that. Also, Best New Artist has been expanded to include artists who have been previously nominated for Album of the Year, but whose contributions fell below that 20% playing threshold.
Yeah.
Basically, your featured artists can now become Best New Artist, even though they may have won because they were a featured artist.
Mhm.
All right. Anyway, let's get back to concert season as Bonnaroo was canceled after a day of being open due to
Yeah.
extreme weather.
Yeah.
Usually supposed to last 4 days, only lasted one.
Yeah. Not great.
Yep. All speaking of things that are not great, Diddy
No, God.
guilty.
Yeah.
Well, guilty for now
Partially. Yeah.
pending president stuff.
Yeah. We'll see. But oof.
Yes. I mean, Diddy was our story of the year last year.
Yeah, for good reason.
Well, good for a
But yeah,
reason. I don't know if
for
those
bad
reasons were
reason.
actually good.
Yeah.
All right. We had SoundCloud partnering with Elastic Stage to allow artists to sell vinyl work. And we had the summer of Coldplay, or rather, the summer of fans of Coldplay.
Yeah, yeah. People at Coldplay concerts doing what they probably shouldn't be doing.
Not what you think that sentence means,
Right.
but
Hmm.
also, but also, cheating the line there.
Hmm.
Let's see here. Oh, we also had Paramore's lead singer, Hayley Williams, release a surprise 17-song album
Yeah,
directly to her website.
that would later be properly released, and we might be talking about it later.
I believe we will. Speaking of artists, we also had Justin Timberlake revealing that he had been diagnosed with Lyme disease and had opened up about his struggles while he was on his Forget Tomorrow World Tour. Uh, and then, oh, Lil Nas X was arrested.
Oh yeah,
Taylor Swift announced that she was, I'm just going to rapid fire this,
yeah.
announced her new album,
Hmm.
announced her engagement,
Yes.
and then announced her final show would be recorded and released on Disney Plus, and
Yeah.
then announced that there will be a docu-series accompanying that Disney Plus release.
And that docu-series is out actually right now, the first two episodes. I have not checked this out quite yet, but yeah, maybe if I have time today, we'll see.
Yeah. Uh, that docu-series probably won't appear on our lists
Mm-mm,
anywhere,
mm-mm,
but
mm-mm.
it is more of a fun behind-the-scenes look. I believe that covers
Exactly.
all the Taylor news, so we should
Yeah.
just wrap that all up there. Oh, besides the Life of Showgirl, like breaking all those records and stuff.
Yeah, well, as it always does, as a new Taylor record always seems to do.
Yes, it does. All right. And then we had the surprise success of K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah.
as it became the first soundtrack to have four songs in the Hot 100. Its song Golden stayed in the Hot 100 and, pretty much became a dominating force on
Yeah.
the Hot 200.
Yeah, we'll talk about more about the actual film in the movies version of this wrap-up podcast. But yeah, it was kind of amazing how the ripple effect that K-pop Demon Hunters had on almost every actually, yeah, every single segment of this show. It affected music, it affected television because of Netflix, like, and all the stories that they had this year. It affected movies for obvious reasons because it is a movie, but then and the characters were even in Fortnite, so it affected video games too. Like it was literally inescapable. If you don't know what K-pop Demon Hunters is at this point, you are probably very uncomfortable because you are living under a rock.
I'll be sure to tell my doctor that.
Oh, she knows what it is.
She knows of them. I have not made her watch it.
She knows of them.
Yes, because her patients have told her about it.
Yeah. Hmm.
And her patients are like 60, 70, 80-year
Oh
olds
well, yeah. So they might
in the
not know.
geriatric age.
They might not know.
Oh,
But yeah,
no, they know because they have grandkids who they watch it with.
there you go.
And then they
We'll
tell her.
talk about it. Yeah, we'll talk about
Yep.
it in the movie section in more depth. But yes, you're right. That is the first, that means as the most successful charting soundtrack since the Bodyguard soundtrack in the 90s, which was at the time also a huge record setter because no soundtrack before that had achieved what it had achieved. But yeah, now we're rewriting history here with K-pop. It's like a whole new level of success.
Because everyone forgets that Eminem and 8 Mile occurred.
Well, that was just the basically the one song though. Like, yeah,
Yes,
Lose
it was. It
Yourself was
was
a
the one
hit,
song. It's not the full
but the
album.
rest of that soundtrack, I don't know. You could name one other song from the 8 Mile soundtrack, can you?
I think it's called Final Rap Battle.
All right, you made that up. Anyway.
Just like Eminem made it up on stage. Hey!
Well played. All right.
All right. We also now know who's going to be headlining next year's Coachella.
Yeah,
Assuming
the
it
announcements came a
happens.
little earlier this year than usual, so we got a little sneak preview at what to expect from next year at the Polo Grounds.
Yep. We have Justin Bieber, Sabrina Carpenter, Carol G, and Anima, all slated to headline next year.
Yep.
Yep. And then this past year's headliner, Bad Bunny, was announced to headline the Super Bowl,
Hmm.
the upcoming Super Bowl 60 halftime show. And then probably followed by controversy of who, why, huh? Even though, he's
Right.
Grammy Award winning actor, singer, dancer, writer, producer,
Yeah, no.
host,
It's
multi
just
hyphenate.
it's just stupid culture war bullshit that they're just trying to yeah, rile people up with. It's fine. It's fine. It'll be great. He'll do a great job.
So what'll be great when Daniel Ek of Spotify officially leaves his position as CEO.
I mean, here's the thing, though, is does mention in the story that he's just transitioning to the role of executive chairman, so it's not like Eck is out. He unfortunately will still continue to lead the company in the direction that it has been going, which is not paying artists enough, making up ghost artists that don't really exist, and teaming with militaristic espionage companies. So yeah, business as usual at Spotify, regardless.
Hey, speaking of AI creeping into everything, we
That too.
had an AI story with ASCAP, BMI, and SOCAN revealing updated policies to accept registrations of musical compositions that were partially generated using artificial intelligence tools.
Yeah, this is actually a sneaky candidate for story of the year here because this was not the only time we saw this. Later in the year, I actually didn't put this as a story for the show, but I saw this happen. The chairman of the Recording Academy, also basically had to concede about this issue and said, "Well, everybody that I talk to now is using some sort of AI tool in the studio." So it has blurred the lines basically of what they refer to as AI generated music and not. Obviously, the Academy still is not counting anything fully generated by AI for Grammy consideration. That is out of the question. That has not changed. But you have had a lot of artists come out of the woodwork now and admit it. Teddy Swims, notably, said straight up, like, "Yeah, I've been using AI tools in the creation of my music," and like also seemed to say that everybody he knows is also doing it. Of course, yes, this is where it's important to draw a difference between a fully AI generated and when you're just using an AI tool to assist you in the studio. There's a big difference there. I will admit. And I'm glad, and I'm also glad that the companies are, or not companies, artists are being more transparent about its use. But yeah, it is an interesting time that we live in where like this is going to become more and more common that we're going to have to figure out where that line is, like what percentage of AI use is going to be acceptable going forward, and whether or not radio stations will play it, whether or not Grammys will be given to those artists, like et cetera, et cetera. It's a complicated issue.
I mean, the artists have to come forward and basically say, this is how much of AI tools that I use. And also you have to define what counts as an
Yeah,
AI tool.
yeah,
If it's like solid cleanup, if it's mixing, if it's removing certain aspects within a recording, or let's just go back 20 years. Does autotune count as an AI tool?
I mean, not really, but
No.
yeah.
All right. Let's see here. I'm going to challenge you with that because we have a might be bigger story, one that we've been tracking for 10 years on this podcast.
That's true.
Scalping and reselling of uh, reselling of tickets for concerts will now be banned in the UK come next year. Though fans will still be able to resell tickets to an event they can no longer attend, the sale will be limited to its original cost and the extra fees will be quote unquote minimized.
Yeah.
So no more selling for absorbent prices
In the UK, we should
in the
reiterate
UK
that
specifically.
because, yeah, this does not have any effect on US sales, which has been, of course, yes, like you said, a hotbed of controversy for pretty much as long as we've been doing this show. I think it hit the peak of it of the discussion during the Eras tour situation with Taylor Swift. We're still I feeling the repercussions of that. I think was that our story of the year that year? In
2 years ago, I
yeah,
think that was 2 years ago.
23.
It was just the entire because last year was
Yeah,
Diddy. Year before
it was
that was
Ticketmaster.
the Eras tour.
Yeah, the Eras tour. But yeah, no, and I think that that's fair. It's still yeah, we are still feeling that. And yeah, we still don't really have a solution here in the States quite yet. But yeah, the government has been looking into it. There has been some hearings about the Ticketmaster issue at hand. But yeah, congratulations to the UK for doing something about it and at least having legislation.
Yep. And then as we get towards the end of the year here, Donald Glover, who had canceled shows in 2024, revealed that he had actually suffered a stroke
Yeah,
on stage. So he had to cancel his shows. And then that brings
yeah,
us to date. So we have a job to do. I've
yes.
narrowed it down to 5 stories. And you can help me narrow them down. So first up, as always, on the Individual Podcast, Taylor Swift. She gained her ownership of her entire catalog. She got engaged. She released a new album, her sixth album in 6 years, which ended up breaking album sales with 4 million units sold in a single week. And all 12 tracks of that album debuted in the Hot 100's top 12 spots.
Yeah.
So, big year for Taylor
Well,
Swift.
I will say,
Well, it's
yes,
always big years for
yeah,
Taylor Swift.
exactly. And that's where I'm going to go here. But I will say that yes, getting full ownership of her catalog and getting engaged are huge milestones in her career. But otherwise, it does feel a little bit business as usual for Taylor, right? Like, I feel like this album rollout, yes, it was a little bit more of a traditional rollout, at least compared to Folklore through through Tortured Poets. Um, Now that the pandemic is behind her, it does seem like she's ramping up to be a little bit more of a traditional pop star, doing actual television interviews, and talking about these things like before they come out, like God forbid, right? I mean, of course, she still didn't release a single, but maybe she'll get to that next time. But yeah, so things are becoming a little bit more business as usual. But yeah, it definitely felt like, I don't know, not the biggest Taylor rollout that we've seen. And so I don't know if this qualifies as that much of a year for her. It is notable that Bad Bunny was your Spotify artist that topped the list, not Taylor. Taylor was your number two. The tides do feel like they're turning a little bit on Taylor, at least for global popularity. I just think that we may have seen her commercial peak. I don't know. Maybe she could peak again, but I just don't think that we should. I don't think I feel comfortable saying 2025 is the year of Taylor when I feel like there were bigger years of Taylor with the Eras Tour, with Folklore, with like the last 5 years. There were bigger times that I feel like she what was the like emblematic of the year that was, and I just don't think 25 was that.
It's like because you said the same thing about when 1989 came out and had all the pop hits, and she was like at the peak, and then it's like, oh, I guess there's now a new peak. So
And that's why I'm not saying. I'm saying that
we'll
it's
probably
possible
another
that she
peak
could
for
peak
Taylor
again.
later.
I'm just
Yes,
saying that like this is not it. Like this is
yes,
not that
no.
that she this was not, I think. And Life is Showgirl, yeah, it's an all right record. I probably like it a lot more than a lot of people do. It's not in my top five though. Like it's like they leave probably in the grand scheme of things a lesser Taylor work, but yeah, she's still, yes, she's still a world dominating force, and will definitely come back again. But like, yeah, this was just not, I don't think, her year.
All right. Well, let's keep it on the train with artists, and let's talk about our possible next story, artists' health, as we
Mm,
had Justin Timberlake revealing himself to have Lyme disease. Donald Glover, as mentioned, revealed that he had a stroke. Also, Billy Joel had to postpone several shows for medical reasons. I know this has also been like an ongoing story. Like we've talked about Celine Dion
yeah,
stepping away before. Um, so it's not nothing new, but we are seeing more and more artists
yeah.
talk about their physical health, especially those on tour.
Well, I do think it's a combination of things. I think one of the things is that artists are more transparent than ever, thanks to social media, thanks to more direct communication with their fans, and so we hear more of these stories than before. I think there was a time where artists would just stop touring and we wouldn't know why until years later, until like, oh, we found out that they died because of a diagnosis that they had been hiding. That just doesn't happen as much. It still does happen every once in a while, but like now that there's more of a direct line of communication, we hear about when artists have issues like this. And also, it's just emblematic of the strenuousness of touring. I think that we're seeing more and more of this happen because of how, like, yeah, how much of a pain in the ass touring is, how much work it is, how much stress it is to be an active pop star in a world tour situation now. So it's not super surprising that you see these artists showing signs of fatigue and illness due to the schedules. They're harrowing schedules. Like Taylor Swift is weirdly the exception that proves the rule. I mean, she's talked about how almost it was like the touring schedule for the Eras tour seemed impossible, and doing 3 hour shows every night. It's like, how is she doing all this? And
Well,
like,
luckily, she has a documentary out that you
right,
can watch
you
the
can watch
behind the
now.
scenes and how she
Uh,
deals with it.
But yeah, so it's like it's not, I don't think, super surprising that this is happening, but so that's why I don't really feel like it's story of the year quality, but like it definitely is interesting and will continue to evolve as we go through the years. It just goes back to what Chapel Roan said. What was that? Early this year? Was that the Grammy speech? Yeah, that was
Grammys.
her Best New Artist speech. That's right. So way back in February, when she accepted that Best New Artist speech, Chapel was right. Like healthcare for musicians is an absolute need because this is proof right here that it is a really tough job. And without the money to afford it, like what are artists supposed to do to continue entertaining? It's like, yeah, it's a really hard thing to solve.
Yeah. Funny you bring up the Grammys because that is the next story I want to bring up for start of the year because it is very specific to 2025, and that is the LA wildfires
Yeah.
which forced the Grammys to reformat their run for the week.
Yeah.
But no, not just like the wildfires themselves, but just weather and concerts in general. Because we also had the Bonnaroo concert being canceled mid-event due to its extreme weather. And then, not mentioned here, but we've also had Glastonbury canceled because of the muddy fields out there as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have an outdoor festival, this stuff is always at risk. You're always
Mhm.
risking weather and acts of God in order to put those things on. But I
Yes.
do think the wildfires is its own unique thing, and I do think that this is absolutely a possible story of the year because of that. We're still feeling the effects of that. Yes, the entire Grammys were delayed. Like there were plenty of other events that couldn't happen because of the fires, and a lot of musicians happen to live in those areas, and so their houses were affected, and a lot of funds had to be raised through fundraisers like Fire Aid and to help those musicians get back on their feet. It probably had a very wide effect on the music industry, and that we're not going to really even feel until probably next year. There's probably projects that had to be put on hold because of all this. It was wild, like to like see all of that happening at once, and especially to live so close to it here, and wondering if it was going to hit you next. It was quite a tense time. And yeah, like I can't imagine what it was for people in the actual music industry that is so close to there. So I definitely think you're right. I think that this is definitely one that we can consider. Because yeah, I can't remember, at least in my lifetime, something that affected one industry so harshly. Like that was so affected by a natural disaster.
I mean, because we don't count COVID-19 a natural disaster.
Well, there's a different pandemics are different.
Ha!
But yeah.
All right. I know that's don't consider serious. Don't take that out of context of what I said.
Yeah, you're not making any statements about the origin of the disease here. No. Anyway,
No. But that does bring me really awkward segue to the next section, next topic, which is
yeah.
government. As we had government and music industry kind of battle each other uh, a ways over the course of this year, starting with the TikTok ban law that made its way all the way to the Supreme Court. Music tangential. We did talk about
Yeah,
it
yeah.
in the music story.
I mean, I feel like it's less so now, but there was a
Mhm.
period of like 2 years there, though, there where TikTok was basically determining top 100 singles. It was, yeah, I think in the pandemic era, you look back, and that was definitely the TikTok era of music. It was the catalyst. It was like what YouTube used to be, like YouTube views. It became TikTok, where like you had to, like we had, those stories coming out from artists like Halsey talking about like, oh, well, management is telling me if I don't have a huge TikTok hit, if I don't go viral on TikTok with Thing, they won't let me release the single. And like that was just how it was. I feel like that's lessened a little bit. And a lot of that is probably because of this government issue where we still don't know the fate of TikTok. The president keeps moving that back 90 days and 90 days, 90 days to give like some sort of American company leverage to go buy it. And it just hasn't happened. Um, so it's just like, it's such a weird situation. But it definitely, I think the overall value of a TikTok hit has gone precipitously down. And so I don't think as much of an important part of music as it was maybe a few years ago.
Well, they weren't the only thing involved with government, as we had the FTC issuing an investigation into Spotify's controversial music audio book bundle
Yeah.
because it ended up slashing songwriter royalties.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we also had the FCC, not to be outdone, accused the iHeartMedia company of payola-like practices, aka pay to play.
Yeah, I remember when we talked about this, it was like, wow, this is wild. It's like the 1950s over again. But yeah, no, interesting little peek behind the curtain there, but behind how modern radio works. It was interesting.
And then the reselling of ticket concerts for above face value to be banned, specifically the UK. Not necessarily US government, but
Yeah.
just government.
Yeah,
adjacent then.
which we just talked about. And yeah, I definitely think it's a contender, but I think it's less of a contender because we did talk about that before on this podcast, and it's just like keeps happening. I don't know. I feel like there is an argument here, but I don't feel like any of these individually are that important. Like I said, the TikTok stuff has
But what about
lessened.
combined?
Yeah, maybe, but like I definitely think there's a stronger argument so far for the wildfires, but we'll get to something that may be a stronger argument in just a second.
All right, why don't you go ahead and take it away then?
Yeah. Well, you have a section here called Musician's Future, that you have
Yes.
like lumped a bunch of different things in here. But notably, we mentioned Napster's acquisition yet again. You mentioned Kesha launching Smash, which is an interesting peek into what we could be looking at the future of musicians' negotiations. I say could be because obviously we haven't actually seen the results of it yet. Um, you mentioned the stuff with SoundCloud partnering with Elastic Stage to do a more direct to consumer vinyl offer. You have the Spotify and Universal deal. But of course, yes, the thing that I think we should keep an eye out for going into 2026 are these AI stories. Not only them making a deal with these media companies, but like also, like I said, the Academy president talking about it, artists starting to talk about it more clear. I think that this is something that maybe is to me the most interesting because unlike the other industries that we like to talk that we talk about here, well, maybe video games is similar in this way. There isn't one overarching union. Like there's like bits and pieces of unionization across musicians, but depending on your level of musicianship, you might not be eligible for that at all. Like indie musicians are affected by these laws just as much as the big pop stars are. And so if AI becomes super prevalent, especially with streaming services leaning into them like Spotify, you're going to have an even harder and even more hostile environment for the smaller artists to get seen. Because if they're competing with literal robots, like how are they supposed to get their music on charts? Like Spotify had a great example this year. I don't know if you saw this as a fan of the band King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. They had notably removed their catalog from Spotify this year, with a lot of artists who were trying to make a point by removing it from this service that they didn't agree with its policies. But in the wake of that, an AI generated band called, what was it? It was like King Lizard and the Wizards or something like that appeared with very similar looking AI generated album art and basically rip off titles of King Gizzard songs, and no one is doing anything about it because again, Spotify's policy is that they're just like, well, this thing exists and we're going to platform it. They're not cracking down on AI generated musicians. So these things just to get to exist and get to trick people into thinking, oh, this is the King Gizzard band I've heard of, when it isn't. Yes, I realize that this story specifically is just talking about AI tools used in music, which is going to be, like I said earlier, going to be, used as long as those tools are available in studios. And yeah, maybe could help musicians do some of the busy work that is involved in music. But just like all the other art forms we talk about on this podcast, music needs to come from a person. It needs to like it has meaning because it comes from a human who is creating it. And when you take that out, if it becomes more human or more robot than man, then it's like, what are we actually listening to? What are we sharing? What are we making? What is this art anymore? And so, yeah, we see it creeping toward just like it has in other industries, like, visual art, like movies with Sora and all that. We're seeing this like now, the more cozy that these tools get with these artists and with these academy presidents and with these publishing companies, the more we're at risk for it to get all the way to fully AI musicians. It's like a creeping terror almost. So whereas like not a lot happened in that realm this year, I do think that it is maybe the scariest story of the year because of what could happen the coming years, and if there's not some sort of legislation brought upon it.
I mean, yeah, AI is here. It's not going away, but as like AI is a tool. It's not going to fully replace
Right. Well,
unless
yeah,
we let
unless it
it
does is the
happen.
thing.
unless we let it
Yeah,
happen, unless we
right.
don't put guardrails in place to prevent it from happening, from running away from us.
Yeah.
Because once you uncork it, the hard stuff it back in the bottle.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the genie, the toothpaste, etc.
Yes.
But toothpaste genie.
See, I won't say the genie because the genie does go back into the bottle.
Well, which
Baby,
genie? It depends.
Christina Aguilera.
Oh yeah. No, you got to rub her the right way.
You're right. But unlike toothpaste, which you don't rub, it does not go back into the tube.
Anyway,
You brush, you don't
yeah,
rub, you brush with toothpaste.
that's true. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's yeah, I think we're seeing the beginnings of it. So yeah, you could make an argument that maybe this is a 26 story.
Mhm.
Uh,
So
but
then
I
what's this
do think it's a strong
2025 story?
I know. I do think it's a strong contender though, because we're already here is basically I
Hmm.
think the argument for why it could be a this year story is because it's already happening. And I think the rules that they have to now lock down are going to affect us in the future because if they're saying like, okay, well, AI assisting tools are okay, that is creaking that door open. That is putting that foot in that door. And then people are going to try to see what they can get away with.
All right. So we need to pick a story.
Yeah. Real. I think where I'm landing is between the wildfires and the AI stuff. What are you feeling on those two?
If we're doing AI, like you mentioned, it is happening now,
Yeah.
but could be a bigger story for 2026.
It
Whereas
could
the
be.
wildfires is a very 2025 story.
Yeah.
The fires were started in January
Yeah.
2025. They
Yeah.
did affect the Grammy format for the week. They had to push it back because of the fires.
That's true.
I don't know if we mentioned it, but there was also a concert, Fire Aid,
Yeah, I
which
mentioned it
ended up
briefly, but
raising
yeah, Fire
$100
Aid.
million
And it was quite an event
for.
too when you think back at it. Like the kind of artists that they got to be all in one place on one stage was really impressive.
Yep. So I'm okay with the wildfires being our 25 story because
Yeah.
it affected music and music
Yeah.
industry and the
Yeah.
Grammys, which is a big cornerstone of the music industry.
No, I agree. I think that that's fair, and I think it was unique. It affected all of the industries really that we talk about
Hmm.
here, but I think it most affected music. And yeah, I do think it's just like the location is a lot of music studios and a lot of musicians are like music musicians. A lot of musicians are based in the LA area, and we're definitely affected by this. So yeah, I agree. I think that the Los Angeles wildfires are our story of the year for our music.
All right.
All right,
Now that we've wrapped that up, we've got to pick some albums.
we sure
So
do.
I'll go first here.
Okay, go
And we'll
for it.
do the top five albums because number five,
Well,
we'll
before
throw
you
you
do
for a
that,
curveball.
how about let's do honorable mentions first. I like to do honorable mentions first so that we rule some stuff out. I know you traditionally like doing them after,
Yes.
but I let's do them first. I think I like how you've written this.
Okay.
So just
So,
rapid
honorable
fire your
mentions.
honorable mentions.
All right. First up, I know I said that he didn't put out an album, but he did. The Weekend. Hurry Up Tomorrow.
You did. It's
Also,
true.
that was a film
Yeah.
that bombed.
That no one saw.
Yep. Lady Gaga also put out an album this year, Mayhem.
Yeah.
Selena
Yeah.
Gomez got married and put out an album
Right.
with
Yeah.
I Said I Love You First. Me and both favorite, John Party put out an album,
Yeah.
Honky Tonk Hollywood. Former album of the year, Eric Church put out an album as well, Evangeline versus the Machine.
Yeah.
Very rock heavy album. Um, Miley Cyrus put out an album. Grammy Award winning Miley Cyrus put out an album,
That
Something
ended up being
Beautiful.
snubbed at this year's Grammys.
We also had media boat favorites, Haim, Lord,
Yeah.
and Kesha all
Yeah.
put out albums with I Quit, Virgin, and Period, respectively.
Weirdly enough, period. Probably the best record of those three, in my opinion.
Okay. We had Thomas Rhett re-release about a woman, which I liked the re-release and the re-recordings,
Mhm.
as but not enough to put on my top five.
Fair enough.
Ricochet, also from Rise Against.
Yes.
Good, but not good enough to put on my top five.
Fair.
More recently, talked about Zach Brown Band. I put out an album, and at least I did listen to that Bad Bunny album.
Yeah.
Debbie Tamar Moss Photos.
So you're prepared for the Grammys now.
I am prepared for the Grammys. Yes. All everyone put out albums. All of them not good enough to put on my top five. And
Yes.
I'm going to assume that mm, this one is on your top five then?
No, I give none. I have no crossover with you, is what I will
Oh,
say. Zero.
no.
Absolutely no.
I mean, Wet Leg.
Oh, no, it's not. It
Wet
didn't
Leg
make
is
it.
not on your top five.
No, it didn't
Wow.
make it. No, didn't make it.
Okay.
Oh, trust me, it was. I'll get to when I talk about my year, but like, oh my God, it was impossible to narrow it down to five, but I somehow did it. But we'll talk about it.
All right. Well, let's get into my five then, unless you have any other honorable mentions.
Oh, I'll
'Cause these
mention
are all
my
that we
mine
talked
before mine.
about here.
Yeah, I'll mention my honorable mentions in a sec. But yeah, go for it.
And then of course we talk about Coachella and Stagecoach and all this other streaming stuff. Uh,
Always.
we listened to a total of 25 albums, which is four less than the previous year.
Well, there's a
And
lot
of
I didn't
those,
talk about.
yes, that's what I
Yeah,
said, it was 25 albums that we talked about.
yeah.
And of those 25, here are my top five, starting with number five, a Hot 200 chart topper.
Yeah,
Surprise, you were probably surprised to see this on my list here. K-pop Demon Hunters
sure.
by
The
various
soundtrack.
artists.
Yeah.
The soundtrack. Okay, little spoiler here. I'm putting the album here because while the movie is good, it won't end up on my top five. And K-pop Demon Hunters is a very 2025 thing. So I want to put it somewhere. I want to give it its honor. I want to give it its due. So
Okay.
I'm putting it here.
Interesting. Okay.
Also, I didn't really have a whole lot of other albums that I felt were top five material quality.
Okay. Fair.
Because I have trouble trying to fill this number five spot of whether it was going to be Zach Brown Band, whether it was going to be Bad Bunny, which is why I listened to those
Yeah.
albums. I
Yeah.
also listened to Haley Winters, thinking it was going to be put there. But neither of those albums I felt really captured one, what 2025 was, but also the impact of 2025. And so just need to put it out here that K-pop Demon Hunters, yes, it like you mentioned, it's everywhere. It crosses over to everything we talked about.
Yeah.
It's catchy, it's memorable, and yeah, it's everywhere. You know, there's a lot of like poignant emotions thrown into like this mixed genre of K-pop, which I'm like personally like not too familiar with. But damn, is it catchy? Damn, does it like just move you? It just a little shoulder pop. My little soda pop with the shoulder pops. Hey,
Exactly.
got the opening number to the duet ballads, the climactic finale, golden. Just everything hits. It fits the tone of the movie. It fits the tone of the soundtrack. Just golden. It's everywhere. It's top five consistently since it came out. You know, I'm not a K-pop fan. You listening to this might not be a K-pop fan, but I could probably tell that if you listen to this album, you're gonna like the album. Even though you may not like K-pop, you're definitely gonna
Yeah.
like the album,
Fair.
just like I did. Now, this one, I'm pretty sure is not gonna cross. Is it gonna cross over to you? I don't think so. Maybe.
No.
No.
Like I said, nothing on your list is on mine.
All right. All right. So then that brings me to number four, which I thought might be on your list, but I guess
Nope.
not because you
Didn't
just
make
said
it.
it won't be. Didn't
Didn't
make
make it.
it. Because was a media boat when it was a media boat playlist, was a media boat end of the year list if Taylor Swift does not show up.
Yeah, it wouldn't be ours. Yeah, it just wouldn't feel right.
Right. So here, The Life of a Showgirl.
Yes.
Uh, it comes out, in October towards the end of the year, but it's Taylor Swift. She puts out an album. Even if she puts out a bad album, it still ends up being quite good. And here, Life of a Showgirl is quite good. It mixes that pop and rock elements to reflect on like her fame, her love, being engaged, wood.
Yeah, well,
This album covers the very like aspects of her life that only like
Yeah.
Taylor Swift can write and has proven that she can write.
Yeah.
Even if she does have those talk about how big her dick is and father figure.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I'll say about Life of a Showgirl is I think it's better than a lot of people give it credit for, but that's mostly just because of the pop like handcrafting going on. You have
Mhm.
Max Martin and Shellback doing their Max Martin Shellback work, and it does have makes like, the result is better pop songs than she's made in the last few years. However, the thing that keeps it from being the upper echelon for me is that I just think the songs are better on other Taylor Swift pop records. I think their songs are better on 1989 and even Midnights, I think I prefer to this set of songs. I think there are just three songs on here that are just questionable enough to just be like, whew, I don't know what you're doing, Taylor. And that's why it feels more like akin to Lover. This feels like Lover Part 2 for me. This record feels like very similar, where they're both records that have extremely high highs, but extremely low lows.
Well, hey, you keep Ophelia and Opalite up there
Yes.
at those high of highs.
Opalite is still, yes, is the winner here. I think it is the best song on the record. I do also like Fate of Ophelia, and I like Life of a Showgirl, the duet with Sabrina Carpenter, who you will talk about in just a moment.
Hey,
But yes,
spoilers.
spoiler alert. But yeah, I do think that there are strong moments on the record, but there is also canceled. So, you know, you win
Hey,
some and you lose some.
except you guys yellow it because it's all caps and there's an exclamation point on it.
Oh boy, what a bad idea. Anyways.
Oh, come on. Or you can go wish list with those dollar signs in there.
Wishlist is fine. I don't know. It's like not it's not a great song, but it's like it's inoffensive. And then yeah, and then there's the real choice, capital C, that she makes
Actually romantic.
with Actually Romantic, which we talked about to death when we talked about Life of the
Yeah,
Showgirl,
we
but
did.
it's really rough and I still don't feel great about it.
Oh, it's because you're deep in the Swiftie lore and the how
Mm.
this connects to this,
Well,
and
it
she's making
literally,
comments about
come
Brad.
on. Like I said at the time, you do not have to be deep in Swiftie lore to realize that that is a Charlie XCX like
Put that
diss
tinfoil
track.
hat on.
It is though. Like it's very clearly about
Put
Charlie.
that friendship bracelet on. You're deep in there.
Oh my God. Anyways, we're not talking about, we don't have time, but yes,
No,
keep going.
because I gotta get to my number three, which
Yes.
is a staple on here.
Yes.
Um, with Turnpike
Yes.
Troubadours
Your
and
country album
Price
of the
of
year.
Admission.
You got
Uh,
one every year.
yeah, I guess this is my country album of the year
Yeah,
because
this is it.
I love one above this. So yeah, follow up to their 2023 album, A Cat in the Rain, which comes another story-filled, a little bit long at times because there's no song less than 3 minutes here.
Oh,
Uh, album and Price of Admission. It's got the heartfelt lyrics that I like. It's got the country strums that I like, and it just feels you, hits you in the feels, top to bottom. Love it. Takes cues from all sides of country music. It's everywhere. You got the rock, the blues, the gospel,
yeah,
the chant backs. It's great.
cool.
Yeah. Be Here. Love it. Underappreciated song on there, Ruby Ann, because towards the end of the album, but love it. Uh, you know, the songs, especially Searching for a Light, keeps you believing, not just in the band, but just in country music. It just was like, I need something to believe in, and Price of Admission helps with that. You know,
Hmm,
it's mm, I don't want to say it's like a comeback for Turnpike coming from A Cat in the Rain into this, but
sure.
it kind of is because they hadn't released an album since 2017. Only to do two in 2 years here. Or yeah, 2023 and 2025. So
Yeah.
uh, you know, it's here. And I keep hyping up Turnpike Troubadours. They were on tour with some of the big names this past year. Listen to them. I'm telling you, you're gonna have a good time with this.
There you go.
Get them up there. Same with Midland. They're not on this
Yeah.
list. They didn't put an album, but I'm gonna plug them here anyways. Listen to Midland. Listen to Turnpike.
Yeah.
All right. But I do have two more albums better than that. And
All right.
as you rudely mentioned,
Hey.
Sabrina Carpenter
Yes.
with Man's Best Friend. And I'm waiting for your draw to like drop as like how high this is on my list.
No, no, no. I believe you. Honestly, one of the best pop records of the year. I agree. Again, I don't know about the haters. I don't know why everybody was like, "Oh, it's just more of the last album." I'm like, well, you know what was good? The
The
last
last
album.
album.
And you know what I want more of? that sound, and Sabrina delivered in what I think is a tighter and more concise set of songs. In fact, I think this is a wonderful record. So yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, it's a fun album. It's provocative very much
Oh
at
yeah,
times,
well that's
but
Sabrina now. Yeah,
it's delightfully catchy. And it does one thing that I really like that an album does
yeah.
have the same theme from start to end.
Oh yeah,
Love it when that happens.
yeah.
And
Concept record.
Sabrina Carpenter may be on a one-track mind in this album, but you know what? It works.
Yeah,
It
it
works better
works.
than anything else put out
Yeah,
this year.
it's good.
Yep. So, just put it on. Forget what the haters are saying. Just have fun listening to it.
Yeah, there's some real
Because
highlights there. House tour is just
up the
so
bottom,
fun.
and you can use the back door if you want to.
Yes, exactly. It's just like the just innuendo of the song, which I appreciate. I think "Manchild" is a great lead single
Mhm.
and one of her best. Just yeah, it's stellar. And yeah, I feel like underappreciated. I think as the years go on, I think people will forget like, oh, actually, there are some bangers on here.
It's definitely a soundtrack of the 20s. And even though
Yeah.
like we're both like way past spoilers, our 20s, there
Yeah,
are
no.
still songs on here that make you even nostalgic for your 20s and what you used to do. And even if you're living in that era, like what you are currently doing.
But yeah.
Yes, old man talking about
Right.
young stuff here.
But yeah, no, like I said last year when we talked about Sabrina, like I'll just reiterate it, which is I think she's just a breath of fresh air. Like she's a pop
Mhm.
star that has a persona, and she is fully like it's a fully realized persona. She is funny. She is like, oh, I'm going to figure out how to pair pop music with humor, and it works every single time she does it. I just don't know. I just don't know how she has like such a good sense of what works, but it works every time.
Yeah. And you don't have to choose lanes. You don't have to be either a
Right.
Sabrina fan
Yeah.
or an Olivia fan. You can
You
both live
can like
in
both.
parallel with each other.
Yeah, it's fine.
You can have the crossover.
Yeah.
Sabrina was on Taylor Swift earlier this year. You can
Yeah.
have your
Yeah.
lanes. You can have a crossover. You can
Exactly.
have your cake and eat it too.
Delicious.
It is delicious. Love some cheesecake. All right. But that gets me to my number one album of the year. And I have to credit you with
Yes.
this.
I was hoping that one
All
of the
blame
suggestions I
and
made would.
credit, all credit and blame goes with you on this. Because I told you I was in a struggle of trying to find a number
Yeah.
one album that I could
Yeah.
not have one. I did not have one.
Yeah.
Nothing was clicking with me.
Right.
And then you said, listen to Haley and Haley.
Yes.
While Haley Winters is
Didn't
not
make it. Right.
on my top five. No, not with the corn queen herself, but Haley Williams did. And as we mentioned, like she put out these 17 songs just on her website
Yeah.
and then turned it into an album. And now that album is nominated for rock album of the year.
Yeah, for good reason.
Yeah, and there's definitely good reason. It definitely like breaks away from like her Paramore persona and just reflects on her journey, reflects on like everything that's happened in the past 15 to 20 years, not just within her life, but just also just society in general. It's commentary. It's breath of refreshing air that someone's able to put like all like the turmoil that you might feel inside just out there. And you're
Mhm.
listening to it, they're like, yes, this is exactly what I'm listening for. This is exactly like someone's able to put into words how I'm feeling. And that's how it feels listening to was Ego Death at a
Yeah.
bachelorette party.
Yeah, no, it's a fancy like I was saying last week when we talked about it on the regular podcast. Like I think what's great about it is that it feels like a center point for Haley. Like she had her previous solo records, which were a little bit more avant-garde, a little bit more art pop. This is more what you kind of expect from a singer who used to be in a pop punk band. But it's still personal enough where it doesn't feel like Paramore's work. It's a different animal, but that still has the essence of that angst that she was so good at doing in Paramore's songs. And so you do get like a pure version of Haley Williams's persona here, which is like really compelling. And you're right. The personal storytelling is like what really makes this work. Because it combined with that immediate sound, like makes it a really catchy listen, a really like compelling listen. Yeah, I think it's her best solo record to date. I think it's definitely one of the best like pop. I'll call it a pop rock record because there's enough rock sounds here to keep it from being a pure pop thing.
Mhm.
but also she plays around with a lot of different genres here, and like she has a wide palette of sounds here, and I think that for the most part it all works really well. And the fact that she has 17 songs that are all doing different things and they all sound cohesive is really impressive.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
I everything you told me, it's just the only thing I've been playing over and over and
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah.
And I wish I found this earlier so I could keep playing it over and over and over it more.
And there's some highlight. Also, we can welcome Haley Williams to the Media Bow podcast, as we are both enemies of Morgan Wallen.
Yeah.
So there's that. Did you
I
figure out
assume
that
she
that was
was
the
the person.
racist country singers bar that she was at?
Yes. Oh, yes.
It's pretty good. Anyway,
All right. Well, yep. That's my top five.
alrighty. Well, we are running out of time, so I'll be very brief on mine, because we have a whole nother show to record after this. But I will
Spoilers.
first go over a brief list of honorable mentions. I'll mention real briefly the ones you already covered. Life of a Showgirl and Man's Best Friend. Both were some of my like had some of my favorite songs of the year, but just weren't strong enough as an album to get towards my top five. But I did really enjoy them. I'll mention Lady Gaga's Mayhem here, Kesha's Period. I also really enjoyed those pop records, but this was not as strong of a year for pop for me. I just didn't listen to those records as much as I did with other things. I also want to mention a cavalcade of bands that I really, really like that put out surprise records this year that I did enjoy, just not as much as I was hoping. Some of my favorite bands from the last 10 years released records this year. Like it was crazy. I listened to 208 records and it was so hard to get it down to five. According to my Apple Music wrap up, I listened to 757 different artists.
Wow.
Yeah, 700 different artists. It was crazy. So yeah, I listened to a lot of music this year. I had to have a spreadsheet for it. That's how bad it was. But yeah, I'll just mention briefly records by Fourth Wanderers, who reunited this year and put out an excellent record. Jay Som put out a really great record that had team ups from, yeah, the guy from Jimmy World. It was also a fantastic album. I really liked Samia's record this year. Morgan Wade, the country artist, not Morgan Wallen, but Morgan Wade, put out a really great re-recording of one of her early like Lost albums, and it was my favorite country record of the year. Sharon Van Etten did a band record with her band, The Attachment Theory. That was probably my favorite thing she's ever done. God, where to even start? Water from Your Eyes, a great record I didn't listen to enough, or else it would probably be on here. You mentioned Wet Leg with Moisturizer, which I think is a stronger record than even their debut. It's a fantastic thing. I really like this indie band, $500. Great band name and also a great record that surprised me. Came out of nowhere. Adult Mom put out a good one this year. Beach Bunny put out a good one this year. I really liked the new Big Thief, Double Infinity. God, Cusp put out a good record. I really like the Deep Sea Diver record this year. That was really good. Fan Club Wallet. Jeez, I have so many. Oh, and Great Grandpa. Great Grandpa finally followed up Four of Arrows with a record that's almost as good, but again, didn't quite make my list. We talked about Haley Williams. That's also Indigo D'Souza put out a record that had a lot of pop songs on it, which is not a record that or well, not a move that I saw coming for her. Japanese Breakfast for Melancholy Brunettes and Sad Women, also a great record with some Japanese Breakfast best songs. Oh, geez. I'm just going down the list here. Lucy Dacus had a good one this
You do
year.
eventually need to get to your top five, right?
I know I'm getting there. I just want to give everybody a quick shout out. The new Mama was really good. I think that might be it. Oh, the Beths. I love the Beths.
Oh,
The record didn't
that's.
quite make my list this year, and I'm so upset. There was just like again, just the competition was super strong.
I'm hearing a lot of
Okay.
familiar artists that you've
Yes.
listed in the
Yeah.
past here
This is what I'm
and have
talking
put up
about
more
is
albums and not here, not in your
yes,
top
this is
five.
why it was a challenge for me, is because it was so many hard hitters that just didn't quite make it. But I did somehow narrow it down to five. I got five
Okay.
records that I'll talk
Do
about real
you have any
briefly here.
repeat artists?
That have
Or are
been
these
on
all
my
brand new?
list before. No, 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 no. There are two artists on here that I've had on lists before.
Okay.
All right, but let's start at the bottom with a surprise record that I didn't that surprised everyone here. Snowcaps, the self-titled record by
Delicious.
the band Snowcaps. So Snowcaps is, let me try to format this correctly. There we go. Um, Snowcaps is a band that's made of the Crutchfield sisters, Allison and Katie. Katie, you might know from Waxahachie, and Allison was the lead singer of Swearin'. They have collaborated before. They used to be in the band P.S. Eliot, and since then they haven't been in the band together. I mean, technically, Allison played in Waxahachie early on, but like they haven't necessarily been in a record, like in a band that them two, until we were surprised with Snowcaps. It's a brand new record. This actually sees them teaming up with MJ Linderman, who is an artist I talked about on last year's list. And yeah, it is fantastic. It's a great indie rock record, and it's just so wonderful to hear Katie and Allison sing together again after so long. They just harmonize in such a very like just of like such a great way, and it's just like they sound wonderful together. And there are some bangers on this thing. It is quite a welcome surprise to come out of nowhere this year, and I really hope that it's not just a one-off. They've talked about touring right now, about it might be the only time that they do it, and I'm really hoping that they do more because if this is any indication, they probably have a lot of great songs that they probably can write for this thing. So yeah, definitely a good one this year, and surprised me. Next up, one that also surprised me. I really love the band Frankie Cosmos. In fact, if you aren't familiar, Frankie Cosmos is none other than led by Greta Klein. You might recognize that last name as she is a daughter of Hollywood royalty Kevin Klein. Um, don't worry though, she's not a nepo baby because obviously it's like a completely different realm. And also she's made it a point to always do her albums as independent as possible. She does not like it doesn't seem like she has a lot of outside help, but she's just been cranking away for the last decade making albums under the name Frankie Cosmos. And I think Different Talking, her 2025 record, is probably the best thing she's ever done. It's really good. The great thing about Frankie Cosmos records is that they feel like a collage. They feel like all sorts of different stories in like in a photo book because the songs are unlike Turnpike Troubadours, never longer than 3 minutes. They're little tall, small little vignettes about 1.5 to 2 minute, little pieces of stories, but they all add up to something greater. And there's such amazing songwriting here, such interesting genre experimentation, and such great yeah, just like great little songs. And I think this is the best collection that she's had yet out of like a very impressive and very wide discography over the years. So yeah, I definitely recommend the Frankie Cosmos record. And I'm trying to figure out the formatting. There you go. You got it to work. I don't know what's going on here.
Well, it could come from
Um,
Excel.
yeah, I know. I'm copying it from Excel. So, all right, the next
Control
one,
Shift Z, Control
yeah,
Shift V removes pasting.
it still gave me okay. That worked. But yeah, and number three is also a surprise this year that you might be seeing on a lot of music publications top fives. Um, this French artist named Oklou and her record Choke Enough. This was a huge surprise for me. I didn't think I was going to like this record when I came into it because the reviews had described it as electronic influenced, and I'm not necessarily the biggest electronic guy. But this thing really impressed me. And I think why is because it's not just an electronic record. Like, yes, sure, most of the sounds are electronically produced. There's a lot of synth on here. It's very much a pop record, but it's kind of like an art bedroom pop kind of vibe. And the way that she combines electronic sounds with compositions that almost sound classical in nature, there's a lot of interpolations with like orchestral instruments and like just like elaborate like flourishes that feel very classic. It's a combination I've never heard before. And it ends up being a record that feels otherworldly and like something that came out of some sort of, I don't know, some sort of weird like robot who was trained on Tchaikovsky. It's very weird. It's a very weird thing to describe, but like it sounds amazing. It sounds like nothing else. And then her vocals are very they're auto-tuned, but they also sound very like again like ethereal and otherworldly and alien. And it's just a fascinating sound. And yeah, I kept coming back to it throughout the year because it was just like something that just wasn't anything like I've listened to before. And I don't know after. We'll see. But like it's quite a record. Yeah, you'll see this one probably pop up on a lot of those websites top lists this year. Then my number two and one are artists that I've talked about before on this list in previous years. Number two is Wednesday, the band, not the show, with their record Bleeds. There you go. This is their follow-up to last year's record, which I think was it my number one? I don't remember. It was really high. But or 2 years ago, 2 years ago. And yeah, Wednesday keeps doing what Wednesday does best, which is Southern influenced rock that is just with face melting guitar solos, with noise, but with also heartfelt stories from a very lived in experience from the American South, specifically North Carolina. Um, the lead singer Carly Hartzman, she really just speaks from her heart. There's a lot of very stories about like what it is to grow up in that area, what it is to deal with like friends who overdose and like dealing with like the like poverty and the class divide and just like all of her songwriting comes from that area. Of course, to talk about Wednesday, we also talked about, again, on this list, MJ Linderman, who put out his solo record last year, but is still very much part of Wednesday and is on a lot of these recordings, even though he doesn't actively tour with them anymore. And you definitely hear his influence in the guitar parts on this record as well. There's some quieter parts with like songs like Townies, which is very like kind of folk influenced. But then you have, like very heavy songs that balance it out. It's a fantastic record, a great follow up, and just is the still remains a band that puts out something that like no other band can really replicate. Like Wednesday is a unique force. But my number one absolutely has to be something that came out really early in the year that has stuck with me just the way that the last one did. My number one record, I believe 2 or 3 years ago, was Esther Rose's Safe to Run. And her follow up to that record, Want, from this year, is probably better. I love this album to pieces. It is absolutely my most returned to record of the year. It has my favorite song of the year on it, Rescue You, which is a fantastic ballad that portrays Esther as this like angel who is going to help any woman who has found herself in a compromised position being with a man. Is basically like no matter where you are, I see you is kind of the message of it. And like, I'm there with you, in like, in times of abuse, in times of sexual assault, in times of danger. It's the most heartfelt, like dramatic thing like that I've heard all year is absolutely my song of the year. And the rest of the record is just as strong. There's some collaborations here. There's a country influence, there's a rock influence, there's like a folk influence here. And Esther just sings like nobody else, and just her songwriting is just so I don't know. It just works so well for me that she could put out literally anything and it would probably be my album of the year at this point. I'm hoping to see her. She's going to be in LA in March, and I'm really hoping to see her because my friend Ashley has seen her before. She plays very small venues because she's not the biggest artist right now, but I think she should be. Like, more people need to listen to Esther Rose. More people do need to like get into what the kind of storytelling and the kind of songcraft that she does because it's unlike anything. And it's just, I don't know, it just does something to me every time I listen to it. So yeah, absolutely number one with a bullet. No, there was never a doubt in my mind from the first time I heard it.
All right. So you said Esther Rose was your former number one?
Yeah, Safe to Run, I believe, made my number one a few years ago.
Safe to Run, I have notes here from way
Yeah.
back when. It
It
was not your
was
number
not my number
one.
one?
No.
Interesting. Well, must should have been.
Esther Rose, I have here was 2023, number
Yeah.
two on your list.
Ah, okay.
And
Fair
then
enough.
also Wednesday, I did not see on your previous lists in the
Hmm.
past 5 years.
I guess it didn't make it. Okay.
Unless it was 2020. Check
No, I
2020
don't
real
think it's
quick.
that long ago.
Okay,
Anyways,
then
it
yeah.
doesn't matter. But yeah,
Then no,
there
yeah.
you go.
Wednesday was not on your previous list.
All right. Well, somehow this means we need to pick an album of the year. I have an idea of what it's probably going to be.
Okay. What's your idea? Because I have an idea too.
So this is tough because I think your two and one are albums that I really, really like.
Hmm.
But obviously, if one is number one, that's probably what we should go for. And even though it's not on my list, I think you're 100% nailed what makes that Haley Williams record special and what makes it unique. And yeah, I have no problem with just handing it to Haley, and just being like, yeah,
All right. Now here's my thought on that.
okay.
One, yes. Two, what about K-pop Demon Hunters? Because it is, even though it's my number five,
No,
you loved this album. You loved this movie. You keep
I,
pushing it on me.
here's the thing. I'm gonna say no because it will get its due in movies. That's
No,
what
it
I will
won't.
say because it is. I
It
know
will
it's
not
not
get
on
its
your
two
list.
movies.
I know it's not on your list,
Yes.
but it's very high on mine. And I will give K-pop Demon Hunters its due for what I think its strength is, which is as a movie. I love Golden, don't get me wrong, but I think the rest of that soundtrack for me does not have as high as highs as it does for you. And so I think that I want the legacy, like I think the legacy of K-pop Demon Hunters should be, in my opinion, the movie because I think it is stronger than the soundtrack. So no, I'm going to say I don't think I agree with that for Media Boat Album of the Year.
All right. So, Ego Death at a bachelorette party.
I think that that's our answer because yeah, it's an extremely strong record for all the reasons that we talked about, and yeah, it's number one on yours for a reason.
It's number one there. You're the one who put me onto it.
Yep, yeah.
So it's
So
definitely so when you listen to it, of your 700 other artists, you thought of me.
yes,
So yeah. All right. Well, we'll do that then.
all
Ego
right.
Death at a bachelorette party.
Yep.
Media Boat album of the year.
So that's a two-peat for Haley because I believe Paramore's After Laughter was also a Media Boat Album of the Year back in 2017, 2018, one of those years.
I'm going to say you're wrong on that.
Really? You don't think that made it? I want to say it
Yeah, I don't think it.
was, but
No, no, it did not. Because I know what
what?
2017 was, 16 was, and 17 was.
Oh, maybe it was eight. I don't remember. Whatever year that came out. I want to say it was a
I, I,
it competed.
nope, nope, it was not. It was
Wow.
not our album of the year. This is the first time Haley Williams has made our album of the year.
See, this is the problem about listening to so much stuff is I can't remember shit. Like all this stuff just blends together in my mind. Anyway,
All right. Anyways, that will do it
that'll
for
do it.
this episode of the Media Boat Podcast. To recap, California wildfires and their effect on the music industry was our number one, was our story of the year.
Yes.
My top fives were at number five, K-pop Demon Hunters by the various artists. At four, Life of a Shore Girl by Taylor
Sure,
Swift.
girl.
She sure is. At number three, Price of Admission by Turnpike Troubadours. At two, Man's Best Friend by Sabrina Carpenter. And my number one album, Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party by Haley Williams.
Yep. Yep.
And then your top five?
Oh, I thought you were just gonna read them. And then
No.
my top five. Number five was Snowcaps by Snowcaps with Katie and Allison Crutchfield. Number four, Frankie Cosmos is Different Talking. Number three, Oaklu's Choke Enough. Number two, Wednesday's Bleeds. And number one, Esther Rose's Want.
And all of that culminated into our album of the year, Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party, Haley Williams. Your
Mhm.
trophy's in the mail. Ooh,
Yes.
fun fact. Both Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party and our album this year and From Zero, Linkin Park's album
Right?
last year and our album of the year last year are both competing at the upcoming
Yes, Grammys.
Grammys in
It's
the same
true.
category.
It is funny how those overlap with the eligibility windows.
It is.
Yeah, funny. Anyway, all right. That'll do
Yes.
it. We'll be back for another wrap up episode in your feed. So look for them. Unless they're already up, then you can listen to all four right now.
Okay, bye.
Bye.